Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy Ace Academy. This is the news coming up from the eastern coast of India. That is, a cyclone Mandaus is about to make a landfall by the end of the day or by the midnight of today or the early morning of Saturday. So, in this video, we will be talking about cyclone Mandaus, which is a tropical cyclone, and I'll also be telling you about what is the difference between a tropical cyclone and a temperate cyclone and what are the effects of this cyclone. Okay, so let's begin. As we know the context already. You can see here the cyclone Mandaus approaching the west eastern coast of India. That is, it's about to make a landfall around Chennai, near in and around Chennai, and you can see here also Chennai weather. Okay, it's very hazardous, very harsh weather conditions, and this is considered. And this Mandaus cyclone is classified as a severe cyclone. Okay, very severe cyclone where the wind speed is actually very great. So in this context, let's see what is this Mandaus. And you can see here Tamil Nadu, the eastern coast. Like for example, if you consider this, okay, this is where we have Chennai, and here is where we have the Mandaus. So a low pressure area was created couple of days back. There was a low pressure area that was created, and this depression got intensified, and because of this intensification of a low pressure area, okay, we have the Mandaus cyclone hitting Chennai, and it will make a landfall by the midnight of Friday. And once it makes landfall, then the speed of the cyclone gets reduced. As per the bulletin, the news that are coming up, it is expected that the Mandaus would cause a very heavy rainfall in and around Chennai. We're talking a lot about cyclones. Okay, what are the effect of these cyclones? What happens? You can see here. This is Chennai, and this is how the revolving wind pattern is approaching the eastern coast of Chennai, and this is called as a cyclone. And what happens? What happens when a cyclone hits? Why is it making a huge news that cyclone is about to make landfall in Chennai? See, first thing that happens when any particular coastal city gets affected with the cyclone is that the low-lying coastal areas would get submerged because of the huge rain and the high tides and the high wind speed. The low-lying areas which are almost near to the coastal area, that would get submerged, and when it gets submerged, for both life and the property, this is a huge loss. This is the first and the most important effect that happens because of cyclones. It also reduces the fertility of the soil, because once you have the ocean water pouring over or flooding towards the fertile plains, then you will have the loss of the fertility of the soil. Continuous heavy rainfall for 3 to 4 days with extreme weather conditions. With extreme weather conditions will reduce the productivity. At the same time, it will worsen the flood situation, because see, in order to carry out the relief and rehabilitation operation for the government or the government personnel or the disaster management agency, it becomes really, really difficult if the wind speed is actually high and if there's a continuous high rain. So, high speeds of the wind accompanying the cyclone can damage houses, property, telephones, government infrastructure, communication, and any other communication systems. You can see in the coastal Karnataka, when you travel from Bangalore to a place called Mangalore, you'll have to cross the Western Ghats. And any given point of time, when there is a cyclone in the Arabian Sea will witness cyclone in most of the rarest of the rare cases. Okay, so even if that happens, then there's a huge landslide in the coast of the western coast, and the this road which connects Bangalore to Mangalore is blocked. Okay, so this is something that is it's a common phenomena that happens. So in this scenario, the communication infrastructure gets destroyed, the life gets hampered, and also the infrastructure gets hampered, and this has to be rebuilt again. There are a lot of people who have lost their houses for the effect of cyclone, and over the years the government is not ready to rehabilitate them, and this is something that you can use, the information that you can use for your disaster management. In the GS3, you have a particular topic called as disaster management. When you're writing answers to such questions, of disasters, and it depends on the district administration to take care of or to carry out the rehabilitation experiment or rehabilitation process of the people who are affected. So this is something that you can keep in mind. We're talking a lot of cyclones. Okay, cyclone is doing this, cyclone is doing that. Now we have a cyclone called Mandaus. Like, what is a cyclone basically? You would have studied this in the geography. Like, what is this cyclone? And if you have not, remember, cyclone is a low pressure system. Okay, where a depression is created. It's a low pressure system where, in order to fill this low pressure, the winds from all the places would come together and spiral and this revolving winds in the anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere, these revolving winds in the clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere are called as cyclones. Remember this, a very important prelim specific factor. The cyclonic circulation is anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere, and it is in the clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. So this revolving and swirling winds, which is a result of a low pressure area, and this carries the moisture, and this carries a huge amount of water with it and causes rain, is called as cyclone. We have different types of cyclones based on it is happening in the tropical region or a temperate region. We have two different types of cyclone. One is called as tropical cyclone that we have seen now, which is a effect of a depression or a low pressure area. That's a tropical cyclone. The cyclone that usually hits India is a tropical cyclone, whether it is in on the Arabian Sea or in the Bay of Bengal. The India gets affected basically with the tropical cyclone because this cyclone happens in the tropical region. If you have studied about the equator, okay, tropics, subtropics, you have temperate, and then you have tundra and polar region. So in this scenario, the cyclones that happen in the tropical region are called as tropical cyclones, and the cyclones that happen in the temperate region are called as temperate cyclones. Okay, we have seen how the tropical cyclones actually evolve, and now we'll see how this temperate cyclone evolves, which happens in the temperate region. For example, in the countries like Canada, okay, or United Kingdom, Britain, Iceland, Norway, Finland, Denmark. So such countries will experience something called as temperate cyclones because they are located in the temperate region, and it is caused in the middle in the higher latitudes. We have seen. So this is something. This is an area where temperate cyclone actually hits. And how is it formed? It is caused because of the frontal zones. What are these frontal zones? See, we have two kinds of fronts. One is called as a warm front, and the other one is a cold front. Okay, we know that this warm front from the equator starts moving towards the poles, and this cold front from the poles start moving towards the equator. And this is how the usual pattern of the winds move. So warm front, which is moving from the equator towards the poles, encounters the cold front, which is moving from the poles towards the equator. And when these two fronts meet, by its nature, as the warm air mass, which is lighter, which doesn't carry a lot of moisture, easily moves above, and the cold fronts stays under the warm front. And this phenomena would give rise to something called as temperate cyclone. Okay, occur in both land and the sea. Okay, see, for in order to form this warm front and the cold front, there's no need that it should form only on the sea and not on the land. Okay, the temperate cyclone can form both on the sea and on the land. At the same time, we have the tropical cyclones, which will form only on water. Tropical cyclones will never be formed on the land. Okay, so the water for a tropical cyclone is like a fuel. So as soon as the tropical cyclone makes the landfall, and this fuel is stopped. Okay, landfall in the sense when it enters the land, and this fuel, that is water, is stopped, and the tropical cyclone starts dwindling or becoming weak. At the same time, temperate cyclone, there is no condition that way. Temperate cyclone can be formed both on the land and also on the water. Cover a larger area when compared to the tropical cyclones. Okay, this is about the types of cyclones and how are these cyclones named. Okay, we have Titli. Okay, we have Vayu. Who are the people who actually name these cyclones? Naming the cyclones is also very important. See, we have something called as Regional Specialized Meteorological Centers, RSMC, Regional Specialized Meteorological Centers, and these are SMCs, along with the countries surrounding it, okay, along with its neighboring countries, are responsible for the naming of this particular cyclones. And one more information: the IMD, the Indian Meteorological Organization or a department, is also one of the RSMC, that is Regional Specialized Meteorological Center. And what is the meaning of this Mandaus? Okay, this particular cyclone, which is hitting the Chennai, is called as Mandaus. And what is this Mandaus and who named it? Two important factors to remember. One first thing is that this name Mandaus was given by a country called UAE, United Arab Emirates, and this is where we have UAE in the Middle East, and this is United Arab Emirates, which is Dubai, and we have a very important choke point in the global economics, that is Strait of Hormuz, and this is Persian Gulf. Very, very important point to remember, that United Arab Emirates, Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf. Okay, Dubai is something that you would already know because you would have heard about it along a lot of times. So remember UAE, remember Strait of Hormuz here. And in the comment box below, comment what is the name of a strait. What is the name of a strait that is between Africa and a country called Yemen? Okay, there is one more strait between the Horn of Africa and a country called Yemen in order to reach Red Sea. Okay, what is this particular strait? See, these straits from the mapping point of view for the prelims examination are very, very important. Okay, these are some of the favorite picks for UPSC. Okay, so you should know. And the first thing to remember is the UAE is the one which is given the name called Mandaus. And what does it mean? Mandaus means the treasure house. Okay, Mandaus means the treasure house. And we don't have to dig deeper into the logic behind why a cyclone which is causing harm is named as a treasure house. No, we don't have to dig deeper into it. Just know that it was given by UAE, and we have regional specialized meteorological centers who are giving names to such cyclones. That's all for the video. If you have liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get all the updates from the Legacy IAS Academy. Have a nice day. Thank you.